So let's talk about money and what we mean when we say money isn't real. Because when you talk about the value of stuff, you talk about money, right? Like there's some weird examples, like some Pokemon cards that are very rare are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is amazing. Like it's just a piece of cardboard and some paint. Like it must have cost like a couple cents to make. And now it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Same with the NFTs. The BRRRR Yacht Club, that project, those are worth millions of dollars. It's amazing. It's pixels on a screen. But if you look at money, like that is solid, right? If you look at, I don't know, whatever your currency is, like euros or dollars or whatever currency you use in your country. We talk about this in the same sort of vernacular where we say you can take that to the bank or it's as good as gold. And at one point, money was as good as gold. Now, not too many people know this, but at a certain point in history, all money was sort of pegged to the amount of gold that a country had. We call this the gold standard. In theory, you could take your money to the bank and exchange it for an X amount of gold. If a government wanted to make more money, wanted to print more money, well, it needed to have the gold to sort of back it up. Otherwise, you're just printing money from the sky. It wouldn't make sense, right? You could make endless money. And what happened was around World War II, countries started getting off the gold standard and they went to fiat money. And if you ask 100 people on the street, maybe 1 out of 100 will know what you mean when you say fiat money. All right, real quick, in case you have this idea of like, I gotta start the crusade and immediately ask people to help me out and go against the scourge of fiat money. If you have any questions like that, if that's a good idea or something, or any other questions about economics, making money, scaling business, or who is the best professor with the best helmet, you can always ask in the Ask Professor Arno channel, and I will answer. Usually within 24 hours, I may or may not wear the helmet. You can ask me anything in there. I'm happy to help out. Fiat, F-I-A-T money is our current system, and basically what it means, like I'm obviously condensing the definition here, but basically fiat is like money has value because it's government issued and the government backs it up. Instead of actual gold being there, the government basically says, hey, we're printing this, trust us, it's going to be fine. If you sort of pay attention, you know that this could cause massive problems. And we've seen that in the past as well. Like in the Weimar Republic, if we had Zimbabwean, like those are really famous, like the African countries or some South American countries where government just prints endlessly and people sort of lose faith in the currency and you get like hyperinflation. Like you have people trillion, billion dollars, Zimbabwean dollars, and you couldn't even buy a loaf of bread for that because people just sort of, it had no value anymore. When people lose faith to an extent, people don't give their fiat anymore to the fiat money. It's just paper. Doesn't do anything. Like in the Weimar Republic, people were burning, I think that was the Reichsmark, just to generate heat because it was more valuable as food for the oven, for the stove, than it was as actual currency. You couldn't buy anything with it anyway. You need like a wheelbarrow to buy bread with it. Didn't make any sense. Now, we all know that these are outliers. In our current time, that would never happen, right? Government wouldn't just start madly printing money like an insane person, because you know what happens. It's a sort of complicated subject and a lot of things play into inflation. But if you boil it down, what basically happens is if you make endless money and you throw it from helicopters and you just keep making it, at a certain point, it starts to lose its value. That's what we mean by inflation, right? Whatever you could buy for $100 a year ago compared to $100 today, if that isn't the same, like if basically the value of your money went down, that's what inflation is. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more because it's an important concept and you need to understand that. But for now, we are in a unique situation where people are just now starting to realize this. If you close down all businesses and if you forbid people from going to work, if you just shut everything down, complete lockdown, right? And you do that for years, and then in the meantime, you also send people free money. Who would have thought that actually had consequences? So what happened now, the statistic is something like over 20% of all dollars in existence were like made in a year. The amount of money that has been created is mind-boggling. Obviously, this is going to have an effect. Everyone understands that. What they do on television and in the news, if you watch stuff about this, is they complicate it. There's many things that factor into inflation, and money printing is actually good. You don't have to worry about this. That's what you're reading if you keep up with this stuff. And I'm here to tell you, if you make unlimited money, if you make money at a rate that is so bizarre that your head would explode if you would really look at the statistic, the line is like this and then boom, all of a sudden goes up. That has an effect. If you make endless money, the bill is due at a certain point. And we're just now starting to see the effect, and we're going to see way more of that in the near future. Now, In the next video, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how debt plays into this and how inflation really is sort of like almost a hidden tax on people that hits the lower class and the middle class worst. Like the rich people, they sort of always get out from under the bill. And we can talk about that. Mainly what I'm trying to show you and what I'm going to show you is how important it is to make sure that you get enough velocity to outpace the inflation and to sort of stay ahead of the massive wave of inflation and other economical mayhem that is about to hit us.